Joe, you have exciting life news.
Yes. Very exciting news. Our daughter was born last week.
Hey, Eva.
How's everyone doing?
Yes, everyone's good. Everyone's good. The whole process went smoothly. All glory to God. Everyone's healthy. We're trying to get whatever sleeps, naps in that we can. But okay, so everything's all good, right? And it's a joyous occasion. I do want to bring up one of my favorite parts about having a newborn. The meal train.
Yes. Have kids for the food, honestly.
Okay, so you know how there's that saying, the quickest way to a man's heart is through his stomach? Mm-hmm. That is me to a T. So I'm just loving this time right now. I need to give a shout out to everyone who has signed up for our meal train. How generous. It really makes a huge difference when people just show up at your door, someone, friends, family, someone you love, and they have a hot, ready meal. So I'm just telling you guys, this is one of the best parts of having a newborn.
I have not personally looked at your meal train, but Hannah was talking about it, and it's apparently very soup heavy. There's here are things that you can bring, and the first 5 are just all different types of soup.
It's because Emily put on there, hey, her favorites are soups. And so people took that to heart and have made a lot of soups. And the kind of the funny underlying thing that people don't know is soups aren't my favorite because I love a hearty, not too much liquid. I want to feel very full.
You want
after.
pasta, we know.
Yeah,
You want lasagna, you want big ziti.
Yeah.
And literally 2 people, one person signed up for lasagna and one person signed up for ziti. So I'm very much looking forward to those days. But in the meantime, I'm going to have to endure through the soups. No, they're all good. They're all good. But yes, lots of soups. Hannah is correct.
That's great. And we can, maybe we'll bring caramel bars. Shout out, I don't know if this is, my cousin, Keegan, listens to these and texted my mom. Hi, Keegan. Texted my mom and got the caramel bar recipe. And that is, I had to get married and leave the state before I got that recipe. And Keegan, you live in my state. Iowa is my territory for caramel bars. And apparently that just means nothing. My mom was like, hey, just don't bake them in Illinois or bring them to any event that she's going to be at. But sure, just trample all over Jason's caramel bar territory. So, hey, we're gonna have to duke it out.
Off.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to another episode of TPO Explains. I'm Joe, podcast producer here at The Pour Over, and I'm here with Jason, our founder and editor-in-chief, and Kathleen, our managing editor. So here's the idea behind the show. Our readers share which topics they want us to explore, and then we bring that to the podcast. Today's winner? Autopens.
That's right.
Autopens.
Autopens. They've been in the news off and on for I don't know, I guess 2 decades, but a lot more recently. So Joe, what is an autopen?
From what I gather, it is the term used when a president basically signs any bill or law, but isn't really taking to heart what that all entails, whether it's just a quick sign and needs to bypass it through quickly, and I don't know if this is true. I'm going to learn from you guys today. I don't know if they delegate a proxy to own and manage how to decide if an autopen gets used?
So an autopen is a mechanical device that reproduces a person's exact signature in a pre-programmed template. So what you said gets at the heart of some of the controversy, but an autopen itself is literally an automatic pen. And they're frequently used by presidents, but it's you sign once, and then you set up this machine that is going to, with the exact same pressure and angle or whatever, just replicate your signature so that next time you don't actually have to go to the trouble of holding the pen. This machine will sign for you.
So technically speaking, we're talking about a physical device.
Yes. So it was first invented, or the kind of precursors to the modern autopen were first patented in 1803. And then the fully automated version was first invented in the 1930s. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually the Autopen is kind of like a Kleenex situation. Like it's a mechanical pen, but Autopen is like a brand name.
Oh.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, the precursor in the 1800s, which I know we'll talk more about, but it was called a polygraph. Because it technically was like two pens and you would write something and another pen would be writing what you're writing at the same time, just copying it. And then the Autopen itself, like the company called Autopen, was the 1940s. So,
All
very
right, Joe.
interesting.
Why do presidents use the Autopen?
I would imagine presidents are very busy. And if this is going to automate something, it's probably mainly because he or she, president, doesn't have as much time to sit down, sign through hundreds of things. And so the Autopen can automate that work.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised to think through all the different things presidents have to sign. So, like, off the top of your head, what do you think a president has to sign?
Okay, bills. Once it lands on their desk, and they're going to give the final approval. I'm sure they get a lot of mail. So do they respond, or someone maybe drafts of a response and they give the thumbs up and then they have an Autopen as the signature?
Yeah. I mean, past like legislation, just like daily stuff, letters of support, well wishes, thank you notes, photos, authorizations, like military, accommodations, stuff like that, congressional correspondence, a number of things. There was in 1952, President Truman wrote that he had to sign his name. It was like in his diary, he was like, I sign my name on letters and documents about 600 times a day.
Oh my gosh.
And I think it was actually Truman who is believed to be the first president to use the modern Autopen. So maybe he was just like really laying the foundation. He was like, I really need this, guys. Like I sign my name 600 times a day.
But to be clear, and like to Kathleen's point, a lot of this is not signing a bill into law. It's like, hey, we're fundraising. Hey, there's like memorabilia or like commemorative things or whatever. And it's like, yeah, the president's name is just being kind of slapped on it, which it's not like carrying the force of law. It's a nice gesture. It's a fun personal touch.
And then the first president that we think used any type of machine like this was Thomas Jefferson. So even back then, he had a lot of letters to write, and he used that polygraph machine to write 2 at one time.
Yeah, and that polygraph is still available for viewing at the Smithsonian.
Interesting.
All right, so you've mentioned laws and bills. So the question is, can a Autopen be used to sign a bill into law legally?
I'm going to say yes, and this is probably where the controversy comes. But I will say yes for now.
Yeah. Okay, so the short answer is yes. And honestly, the only slightly shorter or longer answer is it's controversial. But in 2005, George W. Bush was told he could use the Autopen to sign a law. And he was like, I don't know about that. That feels like it could be controversial. So he asked the Department of Justice, like, hey, is that allowed? And they came back with an opinion. And so Article 1, Section 7 of the Constitution says that a bill becomes a law when it is, quote, signed by the president. But it doesn't specify that has to be done by hand or in person or with a pen. And so the DOJ said in their opinion, quote, the president may sign a bill within the meaning of Article 1, Section 7 by directing a subordinate to affix the president's signature to such a bill, for example, by Autopen. So Bush gets this legal opinion that, yeah, no, it's fine, but still doesn't do it. And like
He still never used it.
Yeah, and actually there was a time like months later in 2005, where he was at his ranch in Texas. A bill gets passed and needs to there's all these deadlines and different things, and he like takes an overnight flight back to the White House just to sign this thing. And there are lots of like throughout history, there are examples. Clinton had a bill like chartered, like a private jet, bring this bill to him in Turkey for him to sign in time. Reagan did the same thing when he was in China. And so like there are these time-sensitive things, and it was always thought, okay, the president needs to sign this by this deadline, so we just got to get this piece of paper to him. And Bush was told, no, that's not the case, but didn't want to cross the line.
Do you know, who do you guys think is I guess the better question is, has an Autopen ever been used to sign legislation?
So we got the DOJ opinion that it's allowed. Bush never did. Has it happened since?
Yes.
Who do you think was the first person?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if it was Biden or should I go back to Trump 1.0 or Obama? Let's go Obama. Let's see. Did Obama do it?
Yeah. In 2011, he became the first known president to sign legislation with an Autopen. He was in France and signed the Patriot Act, or a Patriot Act extension. And that obviously sounded off some criticism, wondering if it was constitutionally sound. I did find this opinion from this guy. His name, shout out to Terry L. Turnipseed from University of Florida Law.
Oh, his last name is Turnipseed?
Terry Turnipseed, yep. He wrote a paper in 2012 saying, yeah, this is unconstitutional. We cannot have presidents doing this. And his whole point was that the opinion piece written in 2005 was like, okay, yeah, it has to be the president's signature, like, and you can use whatever to do it. But Turnipseed really feels like the president should be there in person while it's happening. Like, use the Autopen all you want, but the president should still be there. So,
that was the first time it was used. That's an interesting opinion, because I was like, it would be weird if, like, okay, what happens if something happens to the president's hand and they're like in this big cast and like just physically can't do it? It's like, is the thought, oh,
no,
sorry.
That was his whole thing. It was like, of course we want to wait for like a president who's physically incapable to be able to still sign things. And then he goes back to like UK law from like the 1600s, where it's like, but the House of Lords says that if you're going to sign a will, then if you're going to use a proxy to sign a will, you need to have a person in the room. So why shouldn't we use the same thing? Turnipseed really was fired up.
I'm honestly, I'm kind of with him. I think that's there should be a way to say like, oh, the president broke his thumb. It's not that we can't pass legislation, but the rationale behind the DOJ opinion was basically like, it's the president's decision that's legally required, not the act of holding the pen. But it does introduce some gray area, and we'll get into more of the controversy. So Obama was the first to do it in May of 2011 with the Patriot Act extension.
On legislation.
Legislation, yes. And this was controversial. There was a lot of criticism around it, but it was never challenged in court. He then did it again in November to sign a continuing resolution and keep the government open. And then again in 2013, he was vacationing in Hawaii, and there were tax credits that were going to expire. And so he requested, hey, use the Autopen to do this. And I could not find the clip, but I have a distinct memory of a clip of him talking about it, and him saying like, listen, the options were that I fly back, he's like, which is a huge ordeal. It's just a pain to fly Air Force One. There's 100, 200 people involved, very expensive. Or I charter a private jet for this piece of paper. Like, it just felt most prudent to say, yes, I want that thing signed. It can be signed. You do it. Like, let's not overcomplicate this.
And the man was vacationing in Hawaii. He probably did not want to leave.
Yeah, Michelle was not on board with cutting the vacation early so that he could hold a pen. And then there's one other record. So it's been used 4 times. And the last one was Biden used it to sign a 1-week funding extension for the FAA sometime in late 2024. So 4 times, and all of these, it has been like publicly declared by the White House, like, hey, the president told us to use this pen or the Autopen, we're doing it. Every time there's been kind of criticism, but again, it's never gone to court, never been challenged. And so everything falls back to this DOJ opinion that says it's okay.
That's just for legislation, right?
Yeah. So kind of at the heart of the controversy is around Biden, who has since leaving office and been accused of overusing the Autopen on not bills to become law, but other things that carry official documents like pardons, executive orders, and stuff. And he has acknowledged that it was used in that way and defended it and said, I made the decision every time to use it. Part of the controversy is that there was no public declaration, hey, the Autopen is being used and the president authorized it. And so there's some question of like, man, he signed hundreds of executive orders and all these pardons, which was done by the Autopen and which wasn't. And so it feels like there's a lack of transparency. And then other critics, specifically President Trump, has said, yeah, and he wasn't aware that it was being used. The staffers had taken this Autopen and were signing executive orders without his authorization or knowledge. And now we don't even know which ones to go back and question because all this was done secretly and yeah.
That's the claim on the table.
Right, right.
There's been at least one like example of somebody saying this has happened before. Jason, did you come across this?
No.
So in 1992, Vice President Dan Quayle, he blamed a staffer, and actually he did it twice, said a staffer used his Autopen and signed a letter without his knowledge. And so twice he said he got, pushback on something that somebody received. I think one time it was like a request for a donor to go to a minimum security prison instead of a medium security prison. And people are like, why would you do this? And he's, oh, I didn't do it. A staffer did it and put my name on it. It was standard constituent like business, and I didn't know. So, I mean, at least twice people have claimed that they didn't know that somebody was using the Autopen.
So that's a good lead in. We have presidents and vice presidents who have used the Autopen. Who else in the world might use an Autopen?
Okay, well, we established that a value to an Autopen for the president is that they are very busy and they just need to sign fan mail and all that. So I'm guessing just anyone else that gets a lot of fan mail or they need to respond. So how about celebrities? Jason, right? All the fan mail that Jason receives. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So other politicians, members of Congress, some governors reportedly have them. There are some business leaders. So there was the former Enron chairman, Ken Lay. His legal team argued in 2006 that he couldn't face bank charges because he didn't actually sign some of these documents, and he was still convicted.
Used an Autopen.
He used an Autopen, yeah, and he was still convicted. And then there are some celebrities, but part of it is no one like openly, other than the president, no one really openly has an Autopen because it sort of defeats the purpose of the like personal touch that you're getting if you realize it actually wasn't personal. So there are people who have been caught using an Autopen or accused of using an Autopen. Bob Dylan apologized for using an Autopen on limited edition copies of his book. He said he had vertigo and it was supposed to sign a whole bunch, and his team was like, oh, just use the Autopen. And then it came out that it's like all these signatures are identical, and fans had paid $600 for his signature, which then he didn't do. And so they got refunded and apologized and stuff. But that's a little bit of the like posture towards them is they exist. They can I looked it up.
I was going to ask, can I buy an Autopen?
Yes. And they're like, so it's like $10,000 to $20,000.
Bill has some thank you notes to write for his meal train.
Yeah,
So.
you're going to need a lot of meals to justify the Autopen. But it seems one of the things that I saw was it was a business that makes these Autopens. And basically the pitch was, hey, businesses, if you're writing letters to customers or deals or whatever, put it in handwriting and it will catch people's eye and they're more likely to open and reply.
Okay, on a personal note, I receive from a local car dealership, hey, Joe, we know this vehicle that you have and someone is interested in it. And, it just looks so personalized and handwritten and even the signature. But now that you tell me about this Autopen, I'm guessing a business like that might use an Autopen.
And I was looking at it and it's like, man, there's no way around the fact that this is just deceptive and feels slimy and you don't want to be caught, because it's like each font has 5 or 6 different variations of each letter so that they'll never know. And it's like, right. And so
Are there varying degrees of formality? You could say a quick signature, a formal signature.
Yes. So that was another thing, is that presidents reportedly have multiple hey, if it's, you just write in, you'll get their kind of sloppy signature because that's what is expected on this thing. But it's like, hey, this is a letter to Congress. We'll take the time to do it a little bit nicer. Yeah.
Fascinating.
I'm just picturing the prompt. Okay, now this one is for if people want you to wish them happy birthday. Close your eyes, imagine it, write your name. Okay, now this one is if it's the elf on the shelf and you use your left hand.
Nice.
So you said other people have been accused of using it. Is that the accusation is, hey, all of these signatures look alike?
Yes. Yeah. So the general premise is that no 2 times you sign your name is it perfect. And so if it's ever perfect, it's been used by an Autopen. And for collectors also. So I looked up and it was who uses an Autopen, and I saw basically every celebrity's name. And then fans refuting that they're, it's Taylor Swift would never, and it's look at how different these things are. And who knows, but if someone is known to use an Autopen or have an Autopen, then that signature is much less valuable and may need to be authenticated by a Joe Kim collector.
Ooh, Pawn Stars.
There we
have
go.
A field day.
There we go.
It's interesting that you say Bob Dylan was accused. He's like, oh, I had vertigo, and they're just but knowing that you have to write your signature, upload it. This is a $20,000 machine. This wasn't just I have vertigo. Let me run to Walgreens and grab an Autopen so I don't sign. He had the Autopen probably. Don't you think?
He said that he got it in 2019.
This is controversial.
Yeah, I mean. He at least apologized and was very open with it. He said that he got an Autopen in 2019 and started using it because of vertigo, and then continued using it through the pandemic because he's there's all these books that you want to sign. And if you've ever seen videos of author, they have a whole team where it's a stack of books and they're just sitting there moving their arm and the books, move through the conveyor belt.
They pull them.
Yeah, exactly. It was I didn't have staff to do that. And so we just set up the Autopen.
Oh, interesting.
And so he was saying, hey, I was assured that this was a thing and I shouldn't have done it, and refunded people and made it right. But that's the setting and why someone would want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I did see, which I thought was, I don't know why more people don't think about this. There was something invented in 2004 called the long pen, which is you would write your name on a touch screen and then remotely a mechanical pen would do what you're doing from wherever. And the use case was if you're holding a remote book signing and you want to sign the book, but you're not there. So I don't know. I'm okay, why don't people use the long pen more for these controversial legislation things? If that exists, take the long pen to Hawaii, put it in a Ziploc bag on the beach, and then if you need to whip it out, there you go.
Yeah. Obama leaves it in his pocket, dives in the ocean, and it's ooh, I just broke my long pen.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Wild.
Do we have any fun facts today?
All right, I'll have a couple things, obviously. So aside from Terry Turnipseed, the first president to kind of showcase the Autopen was Lyndon Johnson. He, it said, when I was reading about it, it said he allowed the National Enquirer to take a picture of the device sitting in his office. And then the headline was one of the best kept secrets in Washington, the robot that sits in for the president. So kind of peeled back the curtains. It was controversial, as you can imagine. And then there's also an entire book dedicated to the Autopen. In 1965, Charles Hamilton published The Robot That Helped Make a President about John F. Kennedy's use of the Autopen and how his signature changed. But you would have to pay like $150, $200 to see this book. Like, it's a collector's item at this point. I was not able to see any excerpts online, unfortunately.
Wow.
Man, I can't imagine it's that good. Like,
I would really like it for Christmas. Write that down.
All right, listeners out there, you know what's on
I'm
Kathleen's
just kidding.
wish
I really
list.
don't want it. No, I really don't want it.
You're going to get several copies. All right, what about Christian perspectives, guys?
I'll go. So my first thought was, I mean, right now, why it's in the news is all this controversy and, you know, Trump saying Biden wasn't even a real president because the Autopen was signing everything and it was just the staffers, and Biden saying, no, I authorized all this. And it just felt like, you know, I have no impact on that debate. And it's not good for me to dwell on it and think about it or speak about it or rile people up. And so just thinking about like absorbing that anger when that topic comes up, listening, maybe talking about the fun facts of the Autopen, and just kind of being quick to listen and slow to speak and slow to become angry. So that was my perspective.
I feel like my perspectives tend to be always choose humility. But with this one, I kind of tried to push past that because, of course, it's easy to say like, oh, just choose humility and don't get, up in arms about this. But what's the root of it? And for me, it was eternal perspective. It was like, at the end of the day, we're talking about a robotic pen. I don't know, that just kind of all these little stories were put in perspective for me whenever I think about the bigger things that we could be discussing or, I don't know, focusing our efforts toward.
Yeah, that's good.
Absolutely.
Joe, do you want me to live on camera so everyone knows that my Autopen didn't do this? I'll
Yes.
sign this doc, and we can get Kathleen to sign it later. But there you go.
Do you want it on the screen or no?
No, because then people can look
copy
at it
it.
and replicate it. It's a whole thing.
So if that was the caramel bar recipe, that would be a lot more valuable. But unfortunately, I
real.
bring it to you. You can't do anything with that.
No.
Sherry, I'm sorry. We won't show it. Don't worry. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us on another episode of TPO Explains. As a reminder, you can watch this episode on YouTube and Spotify. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time.
Bye.